What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Address Your Stress podcast, where we help you face some of life's biggest stressors. Today, what we're talking about is, drumroll please, what pushes your buttons? See, the thing about it is, when I'm meeting with a client for probably the first time and they're dealing with, anger issues, or they feel like, they have trouble controlling their emotions, so on and so forth, one of the things that we do first is we make a list of what are the things that piss you off. What are the things that make you angry? What are the things that, irritate you? What are the things that aggravate you? What are the things that just bother you? What are the things that just grind your gears, right? Because I always tell my clients and I always tell the people that I work with is that you can't change what you don't acknowledge. You can't fix the things that you're not aware of that are affecting you. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a sheet of paper out and I want you to make a list. I want you to make a list of the things that aggravate you. I want you to make a list, on the scale of, I don't want to put a number on it, but what I want you to do, I want you to make that list of all the things that bother you, that grind your gears, and I want you to categorize them with work and personal. And try not to be petty with this list. Try not to say like people smacking. Like, come on now. Actually, you know what? That might, on second thought, that might be a thing. But try not to be really petty. Like, try to be significant with these things. But I want you to categorize them into work, and I want you to categorize them into personal. And the reason I want you to do this is because there are things about the workplace, such as, let's say, disorganization. Let's say, getting things done at the last minute, procrastination. Let's say, when you're being yelled at instead of talked to. Different things like that maybe need to go into the workplace. And then the personal can be a dirty house. Socks, shoes, not in the right place. A dirty sink. A dirty, whatever the case, whatever your jam is. But I want you to separate them into two specific categories. And then what I want you to do is, are you ready for this? I want you to write next to it, how often are you to encounter this thing? Because here's the thing, I can't and you can't change how often your button is pressed. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's not a matter of if your buttons get pressed, because these are buttons for you, but when these buttons get pressed. And so, how often are these buttons currently getting pressed with, your work? Let's say your coworkers, your supervisors, the people and clients, the students that you work with, depending on what your industry is. And then, of course, at home, your personal life, your friends, your family, your children, your spouses, your partners. How often are these buttons getting pressed by these individuals? Really sit there and think about it for a second. Is it like an everyday thing? Is it a 4 times a week thing? Is it 5 times a week thing? Is it a once a week thing? And I want you to sit back, okay, and we're going to strategically think about, okay, I'm yelling at my kids every single day when I come home from work about the cleanliness of the house. That is why I'm always irritable when I'm coming home. That's why I don't look forward to coming home when I get off of work. You know what I'm saying? So it's little paying attention to little things like that, right? Okay. So now maybe the hardest part. Are you ready? I want you to have a conversation. Not a irritable, I'm mad, I'm pissed off. I want you to have a calm conversation with whoever the source of these button pushes are. So if it is your coworker, and you know what? Let me back that up a little. I want you to see if it's worth having the conversation with. But you still have to address the issue. So, for example, if a coworker at work who maybe you don't have to interact with, maybe you don't have to walk by them, maybe you don't have to, look over them and do things like that. I want you to make the choice today and say, okay, do I need to talk to this person today? No, I don't. I can just go straight to my desk. I can go straight here and I can, knock it out, or I can go to lunch in my car, or I can drive off for lunch. I don't necessarily have to interact with this person today. You feel me? But the thing is, when it's people that you kind of have no choice but to interact with, i.e. the people that you live with, the people that you maybe birthed, the people that you married, the people that you were born into a family with, those people are going to be harder to, avoid. So with them, I want you to have a civil conversation. I know these conversations will be harder than others, especially based on your position. If you are, the child in this circumstance, having a conversation with your parent is going to be a little bit harder. So adjust it to your situation. But I really want you to have a conversation with them about what it is that bothers you. What it is that you feel like you need to make you be in a good frame of mind, to be in a great space. Like, you could say to them, when you say things like that, it makes me feel like this. And I would really like it if you did it like this. Get what I'm saying? Try to have a civil conversation with these habitual button pushers so they can stop pushing your buttons. Because here's the thing. It's one thing for your buttons to get pushed and they just don't know. Get what I'm saying? Let me use a different example. It's one thing for a person to accidentally step on your shoe as they go by. It's a whole entirely different thing if that same person keeps stepping on your shoe and they keep walking by. Then we got a huge problem, right? You ready to tussle. You ready to do something on it, right? So here's the thing. You got to make them aware that your shoe was there. I want you to make them aware what your button is, the things that bother you, and also maybe even the things that will make you smile. Maybe the things that will push your other buttons. You know what I'm saying? Take that context for what it will. Give me? And so that is today's episode. I want you to really take the time, again, take it seriously. Try not to be petty. Make the list. See how often are you interacting with this list, and then do something about it. Because here we are addressing the things that bothered us so that they don't turn into huge problems down the line. Okay? All right, guys, that's it for this week's episode. I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this week's episode, share it with somebody who you think could benefit from it as well. And if you want to support the show, please subscribe wherever you are watching or listening to this and leave us a 5-star review. I'll see you soon.